That's right, you are not hallucinating. I am finally, as I have said in the past, covering episode by episode the original Teen Titans series. With Teen Titans Go on television and it being such a heavily criticized series, I feel that it's important for someone to still talk about the original version of the show, so that it is absolutely clear why Teen Titans Go is such a bad follow-up. Not only that, but it's been quite a while since I've watched this show, so I am using this as an opportunity to look back on this show and see if it's really as good as I remember it. And if this first episode is any indication, it is. Now, there are a couple of different orders floating around for how the first season goes. The Titans Wiki, for example, has the episode that I'm covering today as the third episode, and the episode that I'm going to be covering third as the first episode. And Amazon.com, which actually has these episodes available, you have to pay for them, but they are available, puts this one first, and I think it works better as a first episode, so I am putting it first here. Though I am not following Amazon's ordering perfectly, as they have the two-part finale to Season 1 placed before the episode which came before it, which definitely should not be the case. But that is neither here nor there. I also want to briefly apologize for the low quality of screen captures and footage that you're going to be seeing throughout this series of reviews. I managed to find Season 3 in pretty high quality, but the rest of these episodes are in garbage quality, and there's nothing I can do about that. That said, let's jump right into Final Exam, the first episode of Teen Titans. We open on a representative from the Hive Academy, a supervillain academy, which is already a pretty cool concept, selling a three-man team of newly trained teenage supervillain mercenaries to a shadowy figure referred to only as Slade. And I want to be clear, I have very little experience with the Teen Titans comics, and especially at the time I had very little experience with DC Comics in general. Enough so that I had no idea who Slade was supposed to be when I first watched this. And knowing that this series of reviews was coming up, I actually went out of my way not to learn more about the team as it exists in the comics. I want to look at this series as its own entity first and foremost, which is why you're not going to be seeing me compare this to the comics at all throughout this series. That said, though, this is an excellent opening scene. We get to see the same sales pitch video that Slade does. We get to see just how well these three work as a team and even get a feel for their abilities, and they're pretty impressive. So when Slade remarks that these three are impressive, he's saying what we're thinking. This scene is quick, and it's effective. It does exactly what it needs to do. It gives us a baseline that we can use later to compare and contrast the Titans against to get an immediate feel for their characters, their powers, their abilities, and their team dynamic. Which is fortuitous as we jump right into making those comparisons immediately after the kick-ass theme song to this show, which I still love to this day. We get to see pretty immediately that the Titans aren't as homogenous a group as these three mercenaries are. The five of them get into an argument. It's not a serious argument, but it's still an argument, and through it we are able to gauge quite a bit about their personalities through their interactions with each other, and we are even given a taste of the show's unique form of humor. It is immediately after this that we get a scene where the three Hive mercenaries set a trap for the Titans, and then engage them in battle in the streets, where we get to see that despite the fact that they are not as homogenous a group as their three enemies, they do still work well as a team. They know how to run rescue operations, and they know how to apply their powers in a fight. They know how to go where they're most needed. Still, though, the Hive agents catch them off guard and end up defeating them in this first encounter. They then engage them in a second encounter on the Titans' home turf, when Robin is not available to fight with them, and the Titans are defeated even worse than they were the first time. It is only once Robin returns and rallies the group back together, providing them with a strategy to take this opposing team down, that they finally win. We are, in a very short span of time, given very effective scenes which show us how the Titans deal with loss, how the Titans deal with failure, and how the Titans rally after they've been defeated. We also get a very clear idea of how important Robin is to this group, that he is basically the glue that holds these five together, even if he is, quite literally speaking, the least powerful of the bunch, even if he is the most skilled. I like this very clear leadership dynamic that they gave to Robin, because Robin, at the time that this show was released especially, was the best known of these characters by mainstream viewers. Two different versions of Robin had already been featured as characters in the incredibly popular Batman the Animated Series. Making him the leader, making him the character that the other characters rally around, helped the audience who didn't know these other characters, or at the very least didn't know them very well or didn't know these versions of them, to likewise rally around Robin and rally around this show. I also really like how his plan is a very Batman-y kind of plan, using their prior knowledge of their opponents, each Titan's specific abilities, the environment, and their enemies' abilities, all against their opponents. It is a very Batman-y kind of plan, and is therefore a believable plan for Robin to come up with. Overall, this is, I think, one of the most effective introductory episodes to a team show ever. Even that middle part where Robin's not around because they think for a little while that he might have been killed in the first attack doesn't feel superfluous, because it gives us that opportunity to see how the Titans function without him, and makes his return to rally them all the more dramatic, and really solidifies how important he is as the leader of this group. This is an excellent start to an excellent show, setting the bar super high right away. And I will tell you, from past experience, I know at the very least the show does manage to keep that high standard, at least for a while. There are points in this series which are lower than this one, but considering how high the bar is set, that doesn't say a whole lot. But we'll get to that when we get to that. End of the day, this was an excellent premiere. I absolutely love it, and I'm super happy to have gotten the chance to revisit it today. All of that said, though, I'd like to know, what do you guys think of this episode of Teen Titans, if you have seen it? And also, if you're someone who hasn't actually seen the original Teen Titans, I'd like to know that as well. I'm super curious to see if these reviews are reaching anyone who isn't already a fan, and also I want to know who you are so I can tell you that you should watch this show. If you like superhero stuff, if you like team stuff, if you like action cartoons, you should watch this show. But either way, let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord, link in the description. There's actually already a Teen Titans section set up there, all ready to go. Either way though, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.